Hi, I'm Jeff from New York. Please like and subscribe.
Young Billionaire, Season 2, Episode 4, Come with me to the family reunion. Elisa stood beside Jeff at Ramsey Lake for 2 hours. The wind was fierce, and Jeff coughed and sneezed frequently. She was really worried about him, but all she could do was stand beside him so he wasn't alone. Jeff's deep feelings for Lelaine frustrated Elisa, and for the first time, she doubted herself. Would she be able to steal him away from her?
It's noon,
She said, sitting down beside him.
why don't we go in and get some lunch?
I'm not hungry, but you can go.
He said, his eyes still trained on the lake, as if he could see Lelaine out there. Elisa helplessly looked at him, and then she turned around and left. A little later, she came back with some food. She handed a box to Jeff and said,
I brought you lunch. Eat it or else you'll get really weak.
Jeff felt a trace of warmth toward her when he realized she hadn't left him, but had instead gone to get him food.
I don't want it.
He said.
You can eat it.
He was careful to keep his face expressionless. He knew how Elisa felt about him, and he wasn't going to encourage her.
Come on, have some.
She teased him, smiling.
I bought 2, and I don't even want you to pay me back.
She wanted him to relax a little, but she was running out of ideas. She just wanted him to eat properly.
I told you I didn't want it.
He yelled, knocking the box out of the ground. He was stunned when he saw the food spilling out. She had brought him seafood risotto, which had a special meaning for him.
Why would you buy me this?
He asked in shock.
I've asked round about you.
She admitted, feeling hurt by his reaction.
I know that when Lelaine jumped into the lake, this is what you brought her, and I know you miss her, so I thought this might help you feel closer to her.
She shrugged.
I know that you and Lelaine have a strong relationship, but I still like you. Even if you beat me up or yelled at me or even killed me, I would still like you. It's not like I was the one who destroyed your relationship.
She bent down, picked up the box, and put it aside.
I'm sorry.
He whispered.
What am I missing?
Elisa wondered.
Why is Jeff so patient with Elsa, despite all the evil things she's done? And I've always been nice to him, and he's so cold toward me. Do all men behave like this? Okay, then I forgive you.
She said.
Now, eat your meal.
She didn't look at him as she handed him a box full of food.
Eat up. If you throw it away again, I won't go and get you more.
Jeff took the box and opened the lid, breathing in the aroma of seafood risotto.
Have you eaten?
Jeff asked.
What do you think?
She asked, raising an eyebrow.
I brought us a box each, but you threw one away.
Then you eat first, and I'll take what's left.
He said, passing the box to her. Elisa's heart warmed with the slight shift of her eyes. She picked up another fork.
Since we're both hungry, then let's eat together.
She said. They sat on the lawn and placed the box of seafood risotto on top of a rock. They took turns to eat. Eating began to relax. The situation was very similar to when Jeff and Lelaine had eaten this meal together, and Jeff suddenly realized that Elisa was a nice girl. The moment he thought this, he felt guilty. He didn't even know where Lelaine was, or if she was okay, and so why was he thinking about another girl? It was disrespectful to Lelaine, so he lowered his head and went back to eating before Elisa noticed anything. It wasn't long before they had finished the food.
Oh, I wanted to ask you if you would come with me to my family gathering tomorrow.
Elisa asked nervously.
You could just show up for a little while and then leave whenever you want. Would you please come?
Her family had been pressuring her to find a boyfriend, so she wanted to take Jeff with her. When her relatives saw him, they would think he was her boyfriend without her having to say so.
It's okay if you don't want to go.
She said.
I just thought I'd ask. I know you're really worried about Lelaine, and you're not really in the mood for a party. I understand.
Jeff was staring at her, not saying anything, and she was growing embarrassed.
It's fine.
Elisa said.
Don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll find Lelaine soon. I have to go.
With that, she picked up the trash and prepared to leave.
I'll go.
Jeff said.
What?
She asked, gaping at him.
Really? You'll come?
When he nodded, she couldn't help but laugh excitedly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Okay, wait for me at the school gate tomorrow, and I'll pick you up there. Bye.
With that, she left. Jeff hadn't been able to say no to Elisa after everything she had done for him, but he couldn't bear to be paraded around as her boyfriend. Hopefully, one day she would understand that he wasn't the man for her. He gazed out at the lake again, thinking about Lelaine. By the next day, his physical condition had improved a little, but his mental state was getting worse. At 6:00 p.m., he was waiting for Elisa in front of the school gate when she arrived in her white BMW.
Elisa, look at him.
Remelin said from the front passenger seat. The moment the car stopped, she spotted Jeff, who was dressed in his usual poor clothes.
Didn't you tell him that this was your family's reunion? Why is he dressed like that? Is he deliberately trying to embarrass you?
Elisa frowned slightly.
Jeff, did you even listen to what Elisa told you?
Remelin asked, getting out of the car and staring angrily at Jeff.
Is that how you dress for Elisa's family?
She noticed that not only was he poorly dressed, but his face was pale and his eyes watery. She stared speechlessly at him and then to Elisa and said,
Are you really going to bring him to your family's gathering looking like that?
Elisa glared at Remelin. She stepped out of the car and walked over to Jeff, looking worried. She asked softly,
How are you? Maybe you should stay here and rest.
I'm not that bad.
He said, smiling lightly. But his facial expression told a different story. He had already promised Elisa he would go, and he wasn't about to go back on his word.
It's okay, I'll come with you.
Remelin snorted, suspecting that Jeff wanted to cheat Elisa out of her money. Elisa opened the car door and let Jeff into the back seat, and then she and Remelin sat in the front.
Open the window a bit.
Remelin said, glaring at him in the rearview mirror.
If you're catching a cold, then keep it yourself.
Are you quite finished?
Elisa said, her tone annoyed. Remelin glanced at Elisa with a hurt expression, blaming Jeff for causing trouble. Elisa drove them to her family's luxurious villa, which was next to Purple Dawn Lake. Nearby was a beautiful orchard, and so far from the city, the area was peaceful. The lake was very quiet at night. The rippling water, the tall trees by the lake, and the carpet-like meadow all looked like they came from a fairy tale. They could hear the water lapping at the shore, the chirping of insects, and the croaking of frogs. The atmosphere was relaxed and pleasant. Voices were carried from the large villa near the lake. It was decorated with colored lights, and tables and recliners were arranged on the lawn. Servants carried wine, fruit, and pastries, and dozens of well-dressed guests chatted in groups of 3 or 5, while mischievous children chased each other. Elisa's 62-year-old grandmother walked out of the house. Her name was Felisa Cortez, and she was in charge of the whole Cortez family. She wore a long dress that showed off her slim figure, and her hair was in a neat bun. Her skin was smooth with only a few small wrinkles, and her eyes were her most startling feature. They were sharp and never seemed to miss a single detail of anything. She gave the impression of dignity and strength, and it was easy to see why she was the head of the family. She walked down the stairs with 2 men wearing suits. As they talked about the family business, everyone lowered their voices. When she appeared, the 2 men nodded respectfully at her before turning around and leaving. Only then did the others dare to approach her.
Hello, grandmother.
Mother, you're looking beautiful.
Thank you for inviting me, Aunt.
They all knew Felisa well. She valued her family and would always do her best for them. Everyone wanted to make her happy,
Grandmother.
said a pretty girl, walking up to Felisa and taking her hand. She leaned into her.
What were you talking about inside? I missed you.
Of all my guests, you have the worst manners.
Felisa teased her.
Why? Because I missed you too much.
The girl asked in a melodious voice.
Enough.
Felisa said.
Stop playing games. Where's your brother Noah?
The girl was Noah's sister Becca. Noah and Becca's mother, Stella, stood to the side. With such a large family, Felisa only had time for her own 2 children, which proved that in the Cortez family, some people were more valued than others. Stella felt proud as she glanced at everyone around her, knowing that she was more important than anyone else here. And then she noticed Alice. Felisa doted on Stella's children, but her favorite grandchild was Alice's daughter, Elisa. She always came first.